Hi, I'm Michael Mulligan, and I'm trying to explain a cover-up at Vermont Yankee. So, the cover-up consists of purchasing defective and unsafe components, the SRV valves, and so I'm going to try and explain why this the SRV valves are so dangerous. Um, SRVs have been implicated in all our major accidents. It's kind of fascinating, actually. TMI, they did poor maintenance on the SRV valves. They kept breaking, and it was a brand new plant, right? TMI was a brand new plant, and they had a whole bunch of problems with the SRV valves. They leaked, they misoperated, they didn't operate, and just prior to the accident, they had a danger tag on the valve: "Do not operate because if you operate it, it'll leak." In other words, it was broken. They should have shut down and fixed that valve, right? You should force these. I mean, that's what makes these plants and organizations pay attention. They pay a price. If a valve is broken, they pay a price of shutting down the plant and spending money and fixing it. They pay a price in shutdown time, not making profits, and everybody pays attention. All the big guys upstairs, they start paying attention. We're not making money, guys, and if you can't keep this goddamn plant running, then we're gonna fire you. If you can't keep this plant running safe and running, then we're gonna fire you. I mean, that's how the whole system is supposed to be kept safe. That's how we create chaos. Is nothing ever matters. Nobody ever gets punished. The other side of chaos is organization and competency and reliability. That's how, through a system of punishment and rewards of good behavior, that's how an organization runs competently. So 3MI, like I said, 3 Mile Island, they had a danger tag on a safety relief valve, or a similar valve in a PWR, a torque valve, pressure operated relief valve. It's a remote operated valve. They have a switch in the control room, a fancy switch. You turn it. It has automatic mode. It has a manual mode, and it kicks open automatically on certain accidents. And so 3 Mile Island, they had a tag on top of the valve, on the valve switch in the control room, and it obscured the operation of the valve. It has a red, green, yellow light. Red being open, yellow being something's broken, green being you're good. And so they had that valve over the valve indication light indicators. The accident happened. That poorly maintained valve, a poorly designed valve, stuck open. The operators couldn't figure out through the symptoms, and also they couldn't see they are all too spun up. They couldn't imagine moving that switch tag, that tag out, a piece of paper away from the light indicators, and there's TMI. Davis-Bessey essentially revolves around another port valve, pressure operated relief valve. Davis-Bessey. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things going on behind Davis-Bessey. Davis-Bessey, deregulation was taking effect. They were forcing the utility to reduce rates at Davis-Bessey before it happened. and stuff. So everybody's putting a lot of pressure on Davis-Besse to cut costs, and usually these guys, what caused the cutting of costs was a bunch of the big players, the big electric users or players created a strategy of deregulation so they could get their costs cut more than the average person. You know, it was a political strategy, and so that forced all over the nation utilities to cut costs at nuclear power plants, and that's what I think caused Davis-Besse. So you know, Davis-Besse in the years up to it, they had a lot of leaks. They were known. Davis-Besse was a good. They got A grades with the NRC. The NRC was blind. After the accident, they found out that the agency was blind and a lot of bad stuff was going on, and it was a corrupt organization, and the NRC couldn't discover it until after the accident. So they had a lot of leaks, an assortment of leaks in the containment. You know, they weren't. They kept thinking up excuses. Oh, there's a leak here. It's not that important. And they kept tamping down every leak. You know, it's not important. We'll fix it later on, and all that sort of. And it was an attitude for the 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years beforehand and stuff like that. And so that, you know, they had to discipline employees that not pay attention to leaks and stuff like that. So that's what set up the accident at Davis-Besse. So they had continuous leaking pressure port valves and stuff. And most amazingly, that they finally mostly fixed that. I mean, it was fixed before the final shutdown, before Davis-Besse came. And so when the head leak was happening, they come up with this justification. Oh well, you know, that must be another one. That must be a port valve leaking. Leaking at the plant, type of thing. They kept blaming it on this port valve that was leaking, but it really wasn't leaking. It's a ghost. This is a ghost symptom. It's a symptom that they think they have, but it's not true. I mean, everybody assumes that you know, you have to have a real leak in order to lead to a problem. Well, you can have a ghost leak. You can think one leak's another leak, and confuse the hell out of you and stuff, and not act on the facts. That's what Davis-Besse is. So they had this ghost. They kept blaming it on this port valve leaking and stuff like that, and that led to Davis-Besse. So what is dangerous about safety relief valves, makes them extraordinarily dangerous, is they're behind a barrier. The primary containment. It's a ball that when the reactor is running, it's locked. Nobody can go in there, and there's high radiation in there, and you can't see. 99% of the world is hidden from you. 99% of the world is, you know, what's going on with safety relief valves is hidden from you, and that's what makes them so dangerous. A lot of times, there's a requirement, like on this Vermont Yankee case, they were leaking to such a rate that they were required to cause the valve to shut down. There was 2 valves that were leaking, and that well, they could get away with 1, but if they had 2, they had to shut down. But there was a requirement to shut down, but they couldn't see the leak. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't see the leak. They don't know when the leak started. Did it happen a month before the shutdown, or did it happen a week after they started up with these brand new valves and stuff like that? So that's what makes these valves extraordinarily dangerous, and it's so easy to because there's no information there. You can't put your hands on it and all that sort of stuff. They're primitively instrumented up and stuff like that. They're extraordinarily dangerous valves when you get down to it, and so that's what we're talking about here with Vermont Yankee safety relief valves. You just can't see what's going on.